Brunswick zone here in Lakeville with the Upper Deck Report. My guest this evening, is Greg Nesbitt, the head coach, the manager of the Burnsville Post 1700 team, number 2 ranked in the state of Minnesota, runners-up in the District 3 tournament. Coach Nesbitt, pleasure to have you here this evening. How are you?
I'm tired.
I bet you are.
I just got done with practice, so I'm tired, but invigorated, ready to go for Friday.
It's that time of year, Coach, where you play the whole season to get to this point. You qualified in districts. You ended up losing that title to Eastview. But in due respect to you guys, you had beat them 2 other times, and they finally beat you. It's hard to beat a team three times in a row in a season.
Yep.
Can you tell us a little bit about that championship game, and then we'll get into the positives of going to state?
Well, Eastview, we'd played them twice in league. We'd beat them twice, and as you know, a lot of times it's when you play a team,
exactly.
not how you play them or whatever. But we caught them at a good time, and we were able to beat them. And then in the playoffs, they played better than we did. They put the bat on the ball real well. They played very good defense. They pitched very well. And we made some mistakes.
Sure.
And they were able to capitalize, and we were able to come back about an hour later and beat Egan and qualify for state.
And congratulations on that. And the one thing that I want to say is I was at that game, ladies and gentlemen. And when you say that Rabbit's Foot 2 out of 3 is tough, 3 out of 3 is tough to do, when a guy can hit a ball up the middle and it hits a base and kicks to the outfield, I think you've got karma on your side. And I believe Eastview did. Although they are a good team, coached by Bob Klefses and his son, they do play good baseball and they are a good team. But I tell you what, you guys more than handled yourself well throughout the year, unfortunately being the runner-up in state. Now the positives. You qualified for the state tournament. You're going into this tournament. You just came in from practice. Got the big banquet tomorrow with Paul Molitor, the Hall of Famer, speaking.
Yep.
What's your thoughts on listening to Paul Molitor speak about the game of baseball?
To be honest, I probably won't even be paying attention.
Yeah,
I'll probably
right.
be
Your
thinking
mind
about
will be
the
racing.
game and situations and so forth. But try to take away something, at least one thing. I know I've been to the banquet 3 times. We've been in the state tournament 3 times, and just try to take something away from. I mean, the guy made it all the way. And
sure, 3,000 hits.
Yeah, was one of the top players, so he knows probably more about baseball in his fingernail than I do in my body. I mean, you know him, so maybe
sure.
I'm right, maybe I'm wrong, but to be honest, my mind will be racing at that point. I'll be
deservedly so, though. I mean,
Yep.
this is the championship. You guys win the state, you qualify first or second, then you go to the regional. So there's a lot on the line here, Coach, for you and your team. And I tell you what, I know you're prepared. I've done camps and clinics with you. I know you're a guy that gets to the nuts and bolts and tries to get the best out of his ball club. Going into this tournament here, Coach, I'm not going to ask you what your rotation is because we know that can change in accordance to what goes on in a game or the results of a game. But who's going to be your number 1, and can you tell us a little bit about each and every one of your starters?
Quinn Johnson will start game 1. He started game 1 in the district tournament, and he's our gamer. He's our horse, and he's primarily a fastball pitcher. Gets a lot of natural movement, kind of runs in and away. And I don't think Quinn knows how he does it.
Yeah, right.
He can just do it, and he's a very good athlete, very good off the mound, and the team we're playing typically likes to bunt and run, so we want a kid up there who, as soon as he releases the ball, he's our 5th infielder out there, and that's what he is. So.
And your opponent is Sauk Rapids.
Yes,
Sauk Rapids. Out there.
First game of Friday, and the first day is very important. You play 2 games the first day,
sure,
and you got to make it through the first day. And if you win the first 2 games, the road almost gets easier
yes,
a little
does.
bit. If you lose a game, you're not certainly done, but the road gets a lot harder. So we want to, like you said, rotation-wise, I think I have one in my mind mentally, but
sure.
I mean, that's going to go out the window.
But who are your other starters that are in that rotation?
Adam Lambrick would be one. He's a junior right-handed pitcher. Brian Vanderwoody, another junior right-handed pitcher. Bo Helquist, who you've seen throw.
Left-hander.
Left-hander, junior pitcher. And then we have 2 seniors, Riley McAdare and John Reynolds, who can also throw for us. And we might have a kid coming back from injury, Tyler Hansen, who's a sophomore. it probably throws the hardest on our
Of
team.
all of them.
But he's coming back from a little shoulder injury, and I'm going to kind of weigh it and see.
Sure.
You know, you don't want to kill a kid necessarily, but
Right.
if he's able to help the team in any way, I know he's willing to do that.
Coach, you and I banter back and forth, and we needle each other, but it's all in fun. But when you're competing, you're always trying to find your way, how to figure out a team's weaknesses and strengths. How did you go about trying to get some information? You don't have to give me your sources, and I understand that.
Yeah.
But how do you go about getting info on a team that you didn't play in American Legion Baseball in Sauk Rapids?
I've never seen him play. I had to look up where I knew
Sure.
Sauk Rapids was around St. Cloud. I
Sure.
knew that, but I had to look up exactly where they were. And to be honest, the coaches that I talked to in Legion Ball had never played him either. So I called some college coaches that have been recruiting my players and just said, what do you know about these guys? Because they watch everybody.
Right.
And some of them gave some good information. Some of them were flat out honest and just said, I've never seen him play, or I wasn't paying attention, or whatnot.
Well, I know one thing, though, Coach. They played against Bemidji. They were in the same district with Bemidji, and Bemidji was in the Gopher Classic, which they played at the Apple Valley site. You guys maybe did not see them, but I know Bemidji had 2 or 3 players that there were a couple of scouts watching their players, and a couple of college guys. So I don't know if Sauk Rapids is any good, but they played in the same conference with Bemidji.
We know some names. We know they have 2 pretty good pitchers. One who pitches currently at Mankato, and one who's going to be pitching at University of North Dakota, where I went.
Sure.
We know things, but in the end, it's going to be, we're going to line up our 9, they're going to line up their 9, and we're going to see.
And when you say that, my next question comes right in. When you talk about 9 against 9 and playing between the white lines, and I know, Coach, you take a lot of pride in pitching and defense and let the offense take care of itself. But what are some of the phases or areas you think your ball club needs to not so much improve in, but be aware of in game situations such as these?
I thought, especially we'll use the district tournament as an example. We pitched very well. We played very good defense.
Sure.
Till the last day, we made some uncharacteristic mistakes. Hitting wise, we can hit better than what we did in the district tournament, and we scored like 10, 5, 6,
Sure.
and then 16 against Egan. But
And you said that to me, and I said, wait a minute, come on, manager, come on, Skip. You know your team was hitting the ball well, and I understand you've been with them all year, and I'm looking at them at a 3 or 4 day span, and I understand where you're coming from.
We're just not, you're with these kids every day. You know everything about them, and we were just missing things we normally don't miss, or just not hitting the ball the normally we would. And I think that's something we stressed a lot today was situational hitting, getting in the cages, getting the hands firing again. And I think
that's great because when I won a couple World Series championships, I was fortunate enough. But those are the things that win championships. Those little small things, those sacrifice bunts, moving runners over to third with less than 2 outs, driving them in from third with less than 2 outs. Those always come back and bite you in do-or-die situations.
Yeah, I tell the kids, score as many runs as you can and make it easy on
Yes.
me. I'd rather manage.
You don't
up
need to be
by
smart,
8.
right?
No, I look like a genius when we're up by 8.
Right.
When we're up by 2, then it's the decisions maybe are more important. But I think our offense is going to break out, a little bit, and we're going to be facing some very good pitchers. But I think a lot of times that helps. The better the pitcher you have, maybe the focus is there.
And you know what? Being a manager, coach, I always like to say manager because in professional sports, you don't ever call one of their coaches a coach. You either call him by his first or last name, or you just call him the manager. Greg, I'd like to ask you this question. When you go into the state tournament, and it's a double elimination tournament, what are your thoughts about going into the tournament? And I know you have the experience and the wherewithal. You've got a veteran ball club, an experienced team that had won the state title.
Yep.
They know how to win. Thank you. Bring it to me.
They know how to win, but most importantly, they hate losing.
Yes.
So when we would lose a game, not a lot had to be said. You knew whatever the reason was that we did lose would be rectified the next day.
Right.
And fortunately, that didn't happen a whole lot. And hopefully that doesn't happen a lot.
No,
this coming weekend.
29-7.
Yeah.
29-7. Maybe I'm off 1 or 2 games, but that's a pretty good record
That's
through
a
the
lot
summer.
of shaking hands at the
Yes,
end of
it
games.
is.
So, and that's a good thing. And you know, we'll just do the best we can.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is Greg Nesbitt, coach of the Burnsville Post 1700. They're playing in the state tournament. Their first game is against Sauk Rapids, another team that was a runner-up in their division. But Burnsville has been strong all year. Coach Nesbitt's the manager, coach, whichever he prefers, but I like to call him the manager. Manager Greg Nesbitt's done a fine job. This is Al Newman coming to you with the Upper Deck Report from the from the Brunswick in Lakeville. We're signing off. See you on the other side.